For everyone, thank you for coming. This is the third part of the webinar in which we are going to build your own Python web application and deploy it live on the internet. Okay, today's class is going to be taken by Atul. He's one of our backend engineers. He's been doing Python for some time now, and the Gen skill application, which is actually part of our product suite, is Atul is one of the main engineers who is working on that. So this stuff which he's talking about is something which he does on a daily basis. Okay, so I encourage you all to ask questions and understand the thing as deeply as you can, so that the webinar will be beneficial to you. Uh, so today's talk is going to discuss some tools, not Python specific, one Python tool, but generally speaking, some tools necessary when you're doing development. Okay. The first one is going to be a Git, which is called version control. It's used to actually manage large projects which take multiple days, weeks, months to do, and when multiple people are working on them. And the second tool which we're going to talk about is SSH, which is a way of connecting to servers on the cloud and things like that securely. Okay. We'll be covering both of those today. And finally, Atul will also be talking about virtualenv, which is a tool in Python that is used to manage installations of Python when you want to install software that is not part of the standard library. Okay. And all these things will be used when we build our larger web application. So I encourage you all to pay attention to everything in detail, because this will be used in the future sessions. Okay, and if you have any doubts, feel free to ask. Questions are the most important part of any tutorial thing. That's why we are making it open. Anybody can ask questions. English ചോദിക്കാൻ മടിയുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ മലയാളത്തിൽ ചോദിക്കുന്നതിന് കുഴപ്പമൊന്നുമില്ല. Chat ചോദിക്കാം, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ you can ask directly on raise your hand or just say something on chat so that we can pause it and then give you time to ask questions. Okay, we'll deliberately go slowly so that there's enough time for everybody to ask questions. I encourage you all to try out the things which Atul is doing along with him, so that you can make sure that you understood it properly. All right, so thanks for coming, and let's get started. Atul, go ahead.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for the introduction. I hope all of you are safe in this tough times. If any of you have difficulty hearing me due to network issues,
your audio is very choppy. I'm having trouble understanding. Is it clear for everybody else, or is it only on my end?
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yeah, if you're using your desktop microphone directly, then I think you should use a headset.
Okay. I'll change my headset. 1 second.
Yeah.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
Yeah, I could hear you there, but you were very soft.
Okay. What about now?
Yeah, it's a little soft, but I can hear you clearly. There's no disruption. Everybody else? Can everybody else hear? I think it's okay now. Much better now.
Okay.
Is it clear now? Anybody else having problems? Rafnaz, Arjun, Hasna, Neeraj, Jasmine, Aishwarya, Hanath. Anybody? Okay.
Okay. So before going to the section, I'll give something about my background. So I'm a MSc graduate. So after my MSc, I wanted to explore my other interests. I was really passionate about programming. So like everyone does, I signed up for a couple of online courses and tried different things. For example, I tried Coursera's machine learning course, edX, Introduction to Python. But those were not fast enough. I mean, my results were a little slow. That's when I decided to join the Lyceum mentoring batch. From there, I learned lots of developing tools such as Git, SSH, and virtually env. Few of them I never heard before. So today we will be going to talk about those. And I'm sure if you are going to become a programmer, you will be using them day to day. Let's get started. So try to follow me and try to do what I'm doing. Can you see my screen now?
Yeah, I can see it. Everybody else can see it?
Okay. So if you have any doubts, you can ask directly or put in the chat box. We'll start. So Git is one of the most used development tool across all platforms, not only Python, but even designers use it. It's a version control system. A version control system allows you to record changes to the files in your project, whatever it may be, and you can look back in time and look back in those files and find the specific version of them you want at any time. So if we don't use Git, what are the headaches? Most of you would be already knowing. If you have tried things like Photoshop, you'll be taking a photo to edit, then saving as a copy 1, then copy 2, at last final draft 2. So it's kind of a nightmare. Git allows us to, gives us a good solution. So let's get started. I'm going to open terminal. I'll just create a fresh directory first. So first, if you don't have Git in your system, install it first. Usually it will be there. Otherwise, sudo apt install Git. So it's already there. And first command I'm going to use is git init. It will create a Git repository. Git repository means it's a project. It will contain all the files that are part of our project. So I'm going to give it a name called mywiki. So it created a file here, folder here, mywiki. I'll go inside there. So that was our first command, git init. Using that, you can create new files. Okay, so once you tried that, you can start adding files to this. So first, using this touch command, I can create new files. I'm making a readme file. So you can see it there. I'm going to use a editor called Genie. So it's a symbol editor. You will be able to follow those. So let's add. So we started with git init, and we can check what's our current status now. With this current status, we can see what's all are happening here. This is the beauty of Git. You can see all the detail, and even it tells what to do. So there is an untracked file here, which we just created, and we can track this file or commit this file using git tag. It's already telling us. So let's just do that. So okay, and again going to check our current status. So I'm tracking this file. I'm about to commit it. If I commit it, it's like saving a file. It will be part of the repository. I can go back and check it anytime later. So for git committing, I'm using git command called git commit. And if you use help, you can see that there are a lot of options here. We only want to use add a message. So I'm going to shortcut for messages and I'm writing a commit title for this commit. It's for now adds readme file. Okay, yeah, this is something we should do for. While trying that, I got an error. Please tell me who you are. So I didn't save my name to Git and all those things, and you will get same errors for the first time. So git config. I'm going to save my commits as a user with name.
Hey Atul, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you actually go a little slower? The reason is because like there's a person who's asked from Muralidhar. Can you, if you check your messages,
Yeah,
so he's actually stuck at Git in it. So I would suggest you to go a little slower at this one.
Okay.
Okay.
So once you do Git init, you will see that there is a new folder. In your case, there will be a folder called mywiki. Get inside that folder using cd command. So Neeraj asked how to install Git. Sudo apt install Git. This is how we do it in Linux systems. Okay. So once we are inside the Git repository, what I first tried was checking the current status of our project. So I created a file now, and I added this file. I was about to save this file to Git repository. So for that, I'm using git commit, and I'm going to give a message called adds empty. That's when I got the error called please tell my details. I mean, this is compulsory or required because when other people are referring back to our commits and Git repository, they should be able to see who committed at which time and what's their contact, all those details. So this Git config help us to do that. Logger user.email and give your email address in thoughts. If you want to make sure it is saved, just check like this. Yeah, saying my user email is adulkpit. Okay, now let's try for name. And let's check if it's saved. Okay. So this configuration is now complete. And let's try to do our first commit. Yeah, this was a success time. So after checking our status, we created a new file, empty file, and added it and saved that file to Git. Now, if you want to see what we have done so far, we can use git log. So it's saying given details of me previously and my commit message. It's like a title for the commit. You can add more than just a word. There is no limit. Okay. So I have installed a small editor called Genie. And using Genie, I'm going to open this file. Here it comes. So, okay. I should have asked git log gives first. I think okay. We'll go a little slow now. I'll continue talking about git add and git commit. So I'm just opening a file now. We'll try committing again. Famous word, hello world. I'm saving it. And if you check git status again, there's a modification in readme file. So I'm going to track that file first. And like we did before, I'm going to add a new commit message. Update readme. Okay. After this only, I think you should try git log, because that's the time there are commits that you can check.
Hey Atul, I think there are some people who's asking some questions. Can you actually look through them?
Yeah, VS Code. I'm not sure how to open it in your shell, but you can directly open via VS Code the file you created and make changes. Whatever change you make will be reflected in this file, and later we can add and commit this. Okay. Someone told there is no chill note into master. If you check git status, I think there you might be able to see the master branch. Yeah, you will be able to get the contact number to the Lycaeum after this talk. We will be adding to the chat. So I hope the previous talk was cleared. Still not into master. So I'll make one more. We'll do this exercise again. So let it be clear. Open your file. Hello again. Why not? And save it. Once you saved it, yeah, it automatically detects there is a modified file. Ignore just this part. That's a hack I did in my bash RC file, so that I can detect if there is any changes. So I'm going to add that file again. 7 autofill and commit. Updating readme again. So now if I want to check previous changes, I'm going to use git log. There are 3 commits now. So any of you have doubts so far? So just one more while. We just used like 5 to 6 comments now, and I think that's enough to get started. Git init for creating a new repository. Git status to check the current status of what all changes have been made in your repository. git add and commit. To these will be used to track files and saved to git repo. Then at last git log. You can see what all changes are done so far. So my next goal is that push this repo to GitHub so that others can collaborate with me and see those changes, use this as a reference, all those things. So first log into your GitHub account, and from there you can see a button. I'll wait a couple of seconds for that, and by that time you can ask any doubts.
So hey guys, my name is Rohit. Yeah, so I just wanted to just let you know, that like if you have any kind of doubts or any things that you want to know a lot more about Git, you can actually ask Atul. Feel free to ask questions and all; it'll be completely fine. So, is there anybody who's got some questions? Like we'll be able to take them up as well. So,
yeah, someone just asked how to set up the email and username. For that, we are going to use git config, and there are options you can locally set up or locally set up. Locally means for all the repos you will be using this email and username. Similarly, if you want to confirm it has changed, this will do. Similarly, to change name. That's it. So let's create a new repository in GitHub. GitHub is very useful. They'll tell you to do all the instructions are given already here. So even if you forward after the first time, it will be here. My wiki, and that name is available. I'm going to put it in public. Yeah, that's enough. Create repository. So they are giving all set of instructions how to handle this. So there are two. Imagine there are two things. There, one repository in your remote machine, and one repository in your local. So first we have to create a repository. Now there is a repository already in local. We have to create one in this remote. So once it's created, we have to sync it. That's where this remote command comes. I'm just going to copy this. Paste it here. That is it. So I can now push the changes I made in local too. So I'll go back again. Just create an, if you come here, if you come to the home page of GitHub, there will be a button called new. Using this, you can create new repository. And I already created one. I'm going to use that. So before that, you just have to fill in the name. Yeah, you don't have to use the specific package. You can use any editor. It's okay if you use VS Code or and there's one called gedit in build in Ubuntu. You can use that also. Yeah. You just have to make changes. I think I'm going too fast, so I'll wait a couple of minutes. If you have any doubts in creating a repository in GitHub, let me know. So we already created a repository here. We just have to connect it with our local repository. Okay. Someone is stuck in git commit. I think I'll go back again. So I think some of you people are not able to use Genie. So any editor is fine. I usually use Emacs. It's much complicated, but for simple things, we can use these. Make some changes. Yeah, we are recording this section. After this, you will be shared. Save and close. It's chatters. They are telling there are modifications. So I'm going to track these modifications and commit them. Commit -m. You can give the message, m for message. You can give the message you want to this commit. Update. You don't have to worry about doing mistakenly committing again. I committed once and tried to do it again. There are no issues. It's very clean. It's clean. Nothing to track, nothing to add. Log. There are no 4 commits. Can you guys tell me if you are ready to add your local Git to GitHub? Or if you have any doubts, please tell us. Okay. I think we'll move.
Yeah, I think we can actually move on. So, yeah, somebody's asking how to create a repository in GitHub. So it's pretty easy. You just have to have a GitHub account. You can go to your GitHub and you can actually, there'll be a button to create a new repository. You can click on that, and once you actually click on the new repository, you can just give a name to it. You can make it a public one or a private one. We'll normally keep it as a public one so others can actually like be able to commit to it and all that, so other people can actually collaborate. You can just directly create a repository from there. Yeah, Atul, you can move forward. Sure.
I'm showing it again. It's very cheap to create a repository.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. So you'll get to this screen. I like the previous name better. So I'm going to take that. Where was that? Okay. So I copied this command. We already have an existing repository, and I want to connect this remote to that repository. Copy the command, come to your shell, paste it. Okay, it's already there. I did it before. So now I'm going trying to push this. So they are asking to set up string. setup string. This remote is called origin, and my local branch is master. Okay, there are two protocols here. I'm going to follow first protocol first, because then I can show you what is SSH and HTTP protocol difference. I'm going to reset my remote now. And try to git push setup string. They will tell us what to do it most of the time. Yeah, this is the index I want to show you. Every time we push to GitHub, they will ask for username and password. And not just the initial time, every time. I don't remember my GitHub password. I'm going to do the SSH way. First, click here to change to SSH protocol. And this is the link they have given us before. You can copy. Git remote. You don't have to set URL, you just can copy the initial one. So because I changed in between, first I was in HTTP protocol, now I'm moving back to SSH. Copy again. Copy. Yeah, first time it copied. Now I'm going to push via SSH protocol. Yes. Because I don't have an SSH key, of course. So, go to your setting. And in settings, you can see SSH keys. From here, you can create a new SSH key. So at first, I think we have to make it in locker. Okay, I forgot to give you an introduction to SSH. SSH helps us to connect and authenticate it with remote services and servers. In our specific scenario, we are connecting with GitHub, so we don't have to use username and password each time we sign up. And this is the method you have to, this is the command you have to use in your terminal to create SSH keys. I'll show you. Before that, if you have any doubts, you can read about in GitHub itself. You have good documentation of everything. Generate new SSH keys in all systems. All details are there. Okay. I'm going to copy this. And going to create a SSH key in my locker. This thing we have to replace. It should be our here it comes. Okay, they are asking us where I want to keep my SSH key. Usually at home folder tilde /min, it is home folder. there is a folder called ssh.ssh. I'm going to create it there. Okay. GitHub password. Complicated. Oh, I made a mistake. I didn't have to give file name. Okay. Let's go back here. Is there any folder called ssh there? And let it be here. Give me a simple password. It should be strong actually. Yeah, this time it's created. And it's created in your SSH folder itself. Actually, I didn't have to worry. I just have to give a name there, I guess. I'll show it again. For that, I'm going to remove this. So let's type that again.
Yeah, Atul, I think your voice is a little low. Can you actually increase a little bit?
Hello, can you hear me now? It's okay.
Yeah, way better.
Okay. So we'll do this exercise again. Creating a. I'm going to give name GitHub. A strong password. Okay. So if you want to see, is it created? No, it's created yet now. Okay. So I created a SSH key and work. I'm going to laptop. GitHub. So this is the public SSH key, and I have to copy it to GitHub. Add. Okay. We also need the password. Oh, it's done. Let me know if you have any doubt adding SSH key to your GitHub. This is the command you have. Okay. This is the command you have to use. Let's go back to our folder. Okay. Now I'll try pushing this to remote at last.
So yeah, if does anybody have any kind of doubts that you actually want to clear up, you can you actually use this time to put it in the chats, and we'll try to help you guys out as well. So be completely free to ask questions. We want to we want you guys to actually try this out and see. And if you find any errors while you're doing it, do let us know. So yeah, it's a good time to ask questions because Atul is actually working as a backend engineer, so he might know a little more. So you can use his time to actually get his expertise in Git and SSH and all that.
I was roaming previous identities to clear the caches. Now let's push again.
Hey, Atul, I think you've got some questions from Rafnaz and Harida Hari as well. Can you check them out?
Yeah. So what is SSH key? SSH key is a protocol. Using this, you can connect with remote machines and servers. For example, I have a machine, Ubuntu machine. If I want to go to that machine, I just SSH. This part is the file key, and this part is the server name. And using this, I can access remote servers. So I'm in a different remote server. This is from AWS. So it have got better performance than my laptop. 4 GB, 2 core. It's a medium machine, and you can run lots of things here, and you can run it overnight. All those things. I think since we just created new SSH file, agent has no identities. Let's try that again. Still that issue. Git remote origin. Okay, I think I know what's the problem. These files are in my home directory. It should be in SSH folder. So this is another Git Unix command called move. First you will give input, then which location you want to move, that output location. If I check those files again, it will be in SSH. Yeah. Okay. Now let's try again. Listing all the files. Yeah, it came. And git push. how this works. Yeah, we got it. Finally, push to GitHub. Yeah, it's sometimes difficult to set up at first time, but you only have to do it once. I mean, once for a project. Yeah. It came to GitHub, and here also I can check commits and all those insights. Contributor, lots of details are there. Okay, so we'll look to the issues. We'll be sharing this recorded section with all of you later. Yeah, we can push any sort of files to GitHub, even small videos. Sometimes there will be a file size limit or storage limit. Apart from that, you don't have to worry. And as I said earlier, it is not just for Python project or programming project. You can use it for projects like designing, Photoshop, all those things. Okay. Were you guys able to push those files to GitHub? I think we can move to our last part, virtual env. So far we are working on just single project now. Imagine there are two projects, both containing same requirements. For example, I'm building a web server, and both these, actually two web servers, and both are different requirements. One requires Django 2 and one requires Django 3. So if I install all of them in my system, dependency will mash together and both of the project might not run. So to isolate that, we'll make a virtual environment specific for a single project. And there are a lot of tools that are available. For this section, we are going to use virtual env, and other options are such as Python itself have Python VNV option, and Conda is a good alternative. Let's build it with virtual env now. Yeah. This is the mistake most of the people make. They will try to build the project, virtual env inside a Git repository. This environment is not meant to be tracked using Git repo. It will be very huge also, and that is not at all required. So I'm not supposed to create virtual env in my Git repository. So I'm moving back 2 steps, and virtual env, and I'm specifying which version of the Python I want to use. I only have one Python of 2 is also there, but 2 is expired now, Python 3.38, and I'm going to name this virtual env wiki. That's it. It's created. So, but it's not active yet. So if I want to if I check ls, there are two folders now. First one is my wiki. It is a Git repository. Another one is wiki, our virtual environment. So if I want to activate the environment, I have to run the shell scripts in wiki folder. Now it's activated. Yeah, this usually shows in Ubuntu telling that the environment is active. If you have any doubts, the easiest way to check is that which Python my environment is using. It's telling that it's the Python from my virtual environment. So you're sure that's active. Okay. Tomorrow onwards, we will be trying to build a web application. Okay. I think someone asked why we are using virtual. Can you specify your doubt? Is it why we are using virtual environment, or why we need to keep it outside the Git repository? Yeah. Okay. So, there is webinar. These are the two folders we are talking about. This is my Git repository. It only has size about 100 KB, and this wiki virtual environment already size about 7 MB without any specific libraries installed. Because this virtual environment are usually heavy, that's why we keep it outside the Git. Yeah. Okay. So from tomorrow onwards, you will be trying actually building the web application using the Git and the Python you learned yesterday. So to properly use the virtual environment, we need to install the libraries using pip. Pip is a Python package, Python install package. Using that, you can install the required Python libraries. You'll be building the web app in Flask. So I'm installing Flask, for example. And if you want to see what all libraries you installed so far, you can use the command called pip freeze, and it will tell all the libraries that I just installed. Flask have a lot of dependencies. These are those. So when another person uses this repository, they will also need to install these requirements. So we need to track these requirements in a file. So I'm going to create a new folder called requirements.txt. And you check, you can see there is a new folder. And when I'm printing this file, you can see all the pip freeze commands came here. The output of pip freeze is saved into this requirements file. And if we have a requirements file, this is we usually install packages. We'll give -r to tell it that it's need to read from a file. Okay. I'll also add this file to repository. Git add. Git commit. time I think it's not going to ask the password, and it didn't. And changes will be reflected here. To commence here. So let me know if you have any doubts regarding Python env or Git or SSH. This is a great reference for Git. It's called Git. You can download it using this link, or just search Git in browser. Yeah, the first link. So far we have just scratched the surface of the Git. It has so many commands and so many applications. Just Git help. These many commands are there. If I want to see all of them, lots of them. But we learned our Git init, add, commit, log, push. These 5 to 6 commands are enough to get started and start working. Okay. So if you guys have any doubt, let us know.
Thank you, Atul, for this wonderful session. So I hope you guys were able to understand a little bit of Git and just understand why we use Git and why we use version controlling, and a little bit of how to use a virtual environment and everything. You will give 5 minutes or 10 minutes for people to ask questions. If anybody have any kind of doubts or questions that you want to clarify, we'll be happy to help you guys. There's a record like some people have asked before. We'll be sending the recorded sessions to you guys as soon as we can, so you don't have to worry about it. So is there any other questions that you want to ask, or let's slowly wrap it up for today? Is there any other questions? I'll wait 5 minutes and see if anybody has any other questions. Yeah, so it seems that nobody's got any other questions as of right now. So yeah, so I think from tomorrow, I think we'll be getting into the whole creating the whole web app portion of it. We'll be most probably working with a web framework called as Flask. So it's like a Python web framework that you use to kind of create the web app and everything. I think that'll be taken by Bala tomorrow. So let's. I hope you guys will see all of like we'll see each other tomorrow. I guess. I think it's the same time at 2 o'clock as well. So really we all thank everybody for attending the session. Yeah. So another question came up. Atul.
Yeah. Someone just asked, is Git compulsory to create web application? It's not compulsory, but it's really good to practice it. It's one of the opportunity you will get to do this. And if you are going to continue programming and continue making big projects, Git will be compulsory. Otherwise, it will be difficult to collaborate. Usually, if someone push, when there are more than 1 or 2 collaborators, they will push whatever they have done to this remote server, and the others will be pulling those details to the local server. That's how we are going to collaborate. So I will revise it again quickly. So there are a couple of Git commands you must know to get started. Git init, this is for to create new repository. Git status, to see what's happening in your repository. git add and git commit. Adding will help you to track the changes you have made so far, and commit will help you to save those changes to Git repository. And while committing, you will have to add messages and try. Sometimes you have to be specific while writing these messages, as others are collaborating with us. They should be able to understand what we did reading through that message. Next is git log. Git log will give a history of all the commits that have so far. There are a couple of filter options there, so you can filter the history as you require and find out the changes you want. And git push. This will uh, upload the changes in your local machine to a remote machine. Then SSH key. SSH key help us to communicate between two servers. And using this, in our case, SSH key help us as to authenticate with GitHub, so that we don't have to apply username and password for each push or each pull. Then at last, virtual env. Virtual env is created to separate the dependencies between projects. And among many tools, we are using a tool called virtual env to create this. Yeah, I think that's all. Let us know if you have any more doubts. We'll be waiting here.
Yeah, thank you, Atul, for this presentation. I hope everybody was able to, grasp a little bit about, Git and everything. So I guess I'll see you guys tomorrow, and we'll just go ahead with, like creating a Flask application and moving on with the rest of the webinar. Atul, I think there's one more question that came from Ellen. If you
Alan
have
just
time, you
asked.
can go for that.
Yeah, Alan just asked. He got an error while adding a README file. Okay, it's telling that there is no match found. So first, use this ls command to see what all files are there. So if I git add some file that doesn't exist, I think you will get a error called a fatal error like this.
Sure. I guess we can wrap up the particular webinar. Thank you all for joining. So I guess we'll all see you guys tomorrow. Thank you.